Just telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, who you are, etc.
I hail from New Jersey. So anybody from Jersey here? Yeah. Jersey, let's go.
Yeah,
Okay. So, the short story of it is, just like everybody else, when you want to do business, you need money. So I figured I'll chase the money, right? So I started getting into credit, and from my credit journey, I got into buying real estate. I'm talking about 10 years ago. By now, 2012 was my first property I invested in. And I did that all with a credit card. And since then, I've just been stacking the deck, learning how to use credit. And I got to this point where I don't do any deals with my own capital. Everything is with credit. So I'm gonna teach you guys today how to go from credit to real estate, so you don't have to use your own money. I know you guys like creative things anyway, so this should be, right up your alley.
Yes, sir. All right, you guys ready to get started?
Let's do it.
How was that? I did not sound confident. Let's try that one more time. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah!
Right,
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Let's get at it. All right, so let me see how we're gonna do it. Can I hold it? And that shit, right? Yeah, it makes sense. All right, so guys, today we're gonna be talking about the 3 secrets. I feel like I'm doing like a webinar. How many people did webinars? Like, this is a real life webinar right here, so I was trying to make it as natural as possible. I thought we were gonna have more seating and everything, but shout out to Chris, he did his best, right? Sure. So, at the end of the day, this is 3 secrets I use to acquire over $100,000, right? And the bank's money, may I add, and I built a multi-million-dollar business doing so, all right? Today's mission: build wealth leveraging OPM, other people's money, using 0% interest credit, business loans, business lines of credit, right? We're gonna learn the best way to maximize business funding by vetting banks, building relationships. We're gonna go into how that really affects you and how you're gonna get more money by having a relationship with a bank. And then obviously real estate, we gotta talk about real estate. So over the past few years, I've acquired more than $750,000 in the bank's money for myself personally. I've helped dozens of entrepreneurs, new folks in the game. I mean, veterans, seasoned vets, seasoned investors, newbie investors, thousands, right? Whether it was through an ebook or a personal mentorship, okay? And today I'm gonna teach you guys exactly what I taught them. Quick exercise. I practiced this at home, but I didn't realize you guys would already be standing. So I probably need you guys to lift your hand up for this one, right? If you're in the room, male, female, agender, whatever, and you're just happy to be here, I need you to raise your right hand for me one time, please. Keep it up, too. Keep it up. This is beautiful, right? Now, of those individuals with your hands up, how many people have a business, a registered business? If you have a registered business, whether it's making money or no money at all, keep your hand up. Just the whole room. All right, how many of those people have accessed $50,000 or more in the bank's money? A couple hands went down. All right, we got a few left. We got a few left. Of those with their hands up, how many have accessed about 100,000? All right, so listen, look around, guys. I do this all the time because you got to know who's in your community, right? You got to know who has the skill. You guys got to contact these individuals because you always won't talk to me, but you'll see these guys more than me, right? Find out how you can access capital. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All right. So the success hack, right, is to learn these 3 C's, right? These are my 3 C's. I coined these 3 C's as structure, sequence, strategy, right? You need to learn how to structure your personal profile and business profile in order to access the bank's money. That's the foundation, all right? Next, we'll learn how to run a sequence. A sequence is knowing what banks want what, knowing what banks allow no documentation loans, knowing what banks pull from what credit bureaus. All right, that's the sequence. And then the strategy is how you use the money. Okay, I do fix and flips, I do buy and holds, I purchase businesses. Some of you guys do lending. We're the Gators. Any Gators here? Few Gators in here, right? So this strategy works just for that as well. Okay? Now, the problem I see, you don't know about fundability, right? People think you just have to have a good credit score and you can kind of get anything you want from the banks. But you need to be fundable, you need to be lendable, you need to be credible. So we're gonna build a credible, fundable, lendable business funding profile today, right? You need to know how to structure your business properly to maximize business funding. And you need to know which banks allow you to do so with no doc loans, no doc lines of credit, no doc credit cards, okay? It's not always about how much money your business makes. It's usually about what it projects to make. And we'll get into that. So how many people would agree it takes money to make money? Yeah, for sure. So the 3S process is going to solve that problem, because what I realize is when you don't have money, you usually ignore opportunity, right? It's like if Miles is like, hey man, listen, I got a place right now. This place is gonna make you, it's gonna generate you, I don't know, let's call it $30,000 every month. Wild numbers. But he's like, you gotta come to closing with about 300,000. If you don't have 300,000, you don't even wanna know the details of the deal. You're like, Miles, what are you doing, man? What are you telling me this for, right? But when we know this strategy, we're like, oh, wait, Miles, 300, that's it? Now we're like, okay, even if I can't get it, I'll call John, I'll call Chris, and we could come together. This is true group economics, right? This is how this really works. Now, I'm gonna break this down in the simplest way. We structure our credit, we go to the bank, we get the bank's money, right? That's the sequence, and the strategy is investing. Break it down a little bit more. The bank gives your business the money, not your personal, okay? Your personal is gonna come in place, but the bank is gonna give your business the money. Your business is gonna take those bank's funds and buy assets. We do real estate, so we're gonna talk real estate today. We're gonna buy assets. The assets will pay you, okay? You'll stuff some money in your pocket, you'll pay back the bank, and you'll do this over and over again. It's kind of like the BRRRR strategy, but it's more on the credit side. All right, so who's this for? Entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, okay? Anyone who wants to be one of the above. I like to call it anybody with who's 18 years or older with a credit score. All right, this works for anybody, black, white, Spanish, I don't care who it is. If you're in America, 18 years or older, you can utilize this tool. Now, this is very important. You do not need an age business. Okay, you have a brand new business and do this. You don't have to make millions of dollars in revenue, okay? You can be an experienced investor or a newbie, doesn't matter. This is for everyone, all right? You don't need a full-blown team. You don't need to be on social media. You don't need to do TikTok dances, all right? How many people know this guy? This is the guru, right? So this book, and when I had this photo, it was 20 years in, you know, his anniversary for this book. It dropped in 97. All right, so he's almost 30 years in. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad was when I really started getting active, right? I got my Rutgers grads in here. We're just talking about it. All right, Mr. Hernandez and his family, all Rutgers vets, or alumni, should I say. Are you? Let's go. Absolutely, I am. All right, so we went, I got this book, right? And this is when it really just highlighted everything for me. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, favorite book, okay? And it taught me basically how the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. Truly it's not really strategy, it's more of a mental thing. This book is all about mentality, mindset, should I say, and just how you pursue the things that you do. You gotta look at it through a different lens. Nonetheless, he wrote books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrants, and it showed us how we can access capital. This book, reading this book, I figured out how to use credit cards. All right, he mentioned something very, very keen in this book. Before we get into that, Cash Flow Quadrants, 4 ways to produce income. Like, this is what I live by. I have this in my room. I had this as a poster for years. Like, just to know where I needed to be in life. Before I really understood what this meant, I had this posted up. So how many people have W-2 income here? You trade time for money, all right? That's what you do. If you don't go to work, you don't eat. If you don't show up, you don't eat. If you don't clock in, you don't eat. That's just how it works, all right? Some of us rise above that. We get our 1099 income, okay? we start making 1099 income. We feel a little bit better because we don't have a boss over us, but we're bossing ourselves. And once again, still trade time for money. All right. Now this quadrant, the business owner quadrant, this is where we want to be. This is where we want to be, right? Whether you're doing real estate or you're buying businesses, Rob knows about buying businesses. You guys should know about buying businesses too. You know Carl Allen by now, right? Yeah, a few of us? Yeah. Carl Allen is teaching us how to buy businesses. So, you know, be a business owner, and you don't trade time for money anymore. You trade or you leverage other people's time and, you know, processes and systems to earn income. And then finally, what I do each and every day is invest the money from the banks to make me more money. All right. But nonetheless, in this same book, Robert spoke on using a credit card for his first down payment. I'm like, all right, cool. Sounds really good. And I was excited because I was getting into fix and flips at the time. So what I did was I followed Robert's strategy. All right, back then, it wasn't what we're doing now. We're liquidating credit cards. And we'll get into that in a minute, but back then it was just like cash advances. All right, you go get a cash advance. I had a credit union at the time. Did a cash advance. We put that money into a buy and hold, right? It was a distressed property. We did the rehab ourselves. We went to the hard money lender based on that. We did everything we had to do. We refinanced, you know, the whole spill. All right, but nonetheless, we got in the game because we had a credit card. We didn't have the money. All right, at the time it was only 15K for me, and I'm gonna take you guys on my journey. But now let me explain really fast, right? Because I don't want anybody to walk away here not understanding exactly what we're doing. We're using business credit cards at minimum. Business credit cards. It gets better with loans and lines of credit, but we're using business credit cards versus personal credit cards, okay? Because business credit cards are way better. Let's just start there, right? The number one reason I like a business credit card is because it doesn't report to your personal credit profile, okay? Now, if you realize, or if you study your credit report, when you use a personal credit card, let's say you use $1,000 on a $10,000 credit card. That's called utilization, right? You're utilizing that credit card. Now you have 10% utilization on that credit card. And you may notice when it's time to pay that bill, your credit score went down, all right? This is because you're using a credit card. Now, in the simplest manner, that doesn't happen using business credit cards because it's not reporting to your profile, all right? So when we really start getting spicy with it, okay, when we really start investing with it, we're carrying debt of $50,000 on the business credit card because we just bought a property Miles just told us about, okay? Well, now, that's not hurting our credit score. So what does that allow us to do? It allows us to repeat that cycle, go get another credit card. If Miles has more deals, we'll go buy more deals. Simple as that. All right, so business credit cards changes the game. All right, we do 0% interest credit cards. So essentially we're using the bank's money without paying any interest, right, for 12 months, 18 months, okay? They give us higher limits than personal credit cards. And like I said, when you use your personal credit, it drops your age every time you get a new credit card. All right, so how many people in here have more than 5 credit cards? We need to talk. We need to decrease that. We got to decrease that because the fundability is shot, right? And I'll get into that in a minute. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to take you guys on my journey. All right, you guys are my family. I got to take you guys on my journey, right? On my journey, I've been through a lot of different credit companies, funding companies, and I learned a lot, and that's kind of how I got to this point. So I can basically save you guys from a lot of headache and heartache, all right? So the first type of funding is called PG funding, right? That's personal guarantee funding, all right? You need a 720 credit score typically. These companies usually want money up front, maybe like $3,000. I won't call anyone's name out, but you know, this is what they do. They either charge you a little bit up front or they charge you 10% on the back. Okay, no problem. But like I said, you need like a 720 credit score and the 10% on the back and it's okay. But you know, my personal opinion about that, I don't like it. I just don't like it. And I come from this too because I was doing funding for a while for people. But what you realize is you're setting people up for failure, so to speak, right? If I get John 100K, John's like, I need some money, I need to do a deal with Miles. I'm like, okay, let's do it. All right, I get John 100,000 and I charge him 10%. John only has 90,000 and he hasn't even invested yet. Like, I don't like that feeling. Morally, I don't like that. Okay, so I stopped doing this. But nonetheless, this is average. This is like standard industry stuff. All right, so you PG funding. Then you have the no PG funding. Okay, this is on the other hand, they're like, listen, you don't have to have good credit. You don't have to have a credit score. You don't even have to have a credit number. You don't have to have a social security number. We don't care. Have a business, come here, have your EIN number. We're gonna do EIN funding only. All right, once again, I won't say any names, but you guys know people that say this. You guys know right now, I know for a fact, especially my Gators, you guys know people have told you, listen, you follow this path, you're gonna be able to get funding using EIN only. All right, they may charge you a little fee, they may not, I don't know, I'm not really in that industry. Nonetheless, going on my journey, following Robert K, getting a cash advance, I take my credit score, all right? I mean, I had the money to do a deal, but I couldn't do anything else. So once I was finding out about these different companies, I couldn't do the PG funding at the time because I take my credit score following Robert K. All right, get a mentor, right? I was treating Robert K as my mentor through a book. I couldn't ask him questions. I would just read it over and over again and imagine he was giving me the answer like, so use the credit card. Use the credit card, Robert? Use the credit card. I'm like, okay, I'll use the credit card. All right, so I use the credit card, take my credit score, all good. Nonetheless, 15K utilization, maxed out the credit card, okay, so I'll go the no PG route. And this is what I learned. Business credit, okay? This particular company is still around today. And you know, they're always gonna be around because as long as you understand marketing, you can have a shit product and still sell it. All right, marketing is everything, okay? So they're still around and you know, I see them more nowadays talk about like hybrid options. Hybrid meaning you can use PG funding and non-PG funding. But anyway, I'll take you on my journey. Business credit. You could get up to $500,000, no PG. That means you don't have to have a credit check, okay? You don't have to have a social security number if you don't have one, all right? They're not checking social security profiles. They're not checking your personal profile. Like, okay, sounds too good to be true, but let's go. EIN only. I'm like, all right, where do I sign up? What do I have to do? I paid the $3,000 and they told me, set up your paydex score, your Dun and Brad, you know, the whole 9 yards. So I did it. I'm like, okay, this is pretty easy. Where's the 500? It doesn't happen just like that, brother. All right, slow down. It's like, listen, what we need you to do is, we need you to get with tier 1 merchant vendor accounts. I'm like, okay, whatever that means, I'll do it. I went, I did it. I got Uline, Granger, I got Quill, I got anything that I could, because typically what happens is these vendor accounts are just merchant accounts, right? Merchant store cards, and they give you a line of credit to shop at their store. All right, so I don't need any of this stuff, but I did it anyway because I'm following a blueprint. I'm following a format. All right, so I did that. Well, what's next? Where's the 500? Wait just a minute. Go and get the tier 2 cards. I'm like, okay, all right. Now, I liked Home Depot. I like Lowe's. Best Buy, not so much. You see, I got a what's this? I don't even know what kind of computer this is. They're laughing at me because I don't have an Apple. I got an HP, all right? I use an HP. I don't care about electronics, right? I get busy. Nonetheless, I got the store cards, right? All right, so I can use a Home Depot eventually because we're gonna do some rehabs, all right? So what's next? How do I get the 500? They said, listen, right before you get the 500, you need to go get some fuel cards. I'm like, fuel? Okay. I don't drive trucks. I barely have a car at this point. Like, I'll go get it anyway. So I got it. I passed it around to my family members. I told them, please, listen, if you guys use these credit cards responsibly, we'll get $500,000. So I sold them on that, and they paid off the bills, right? Okay, so nonetheless, family, they took me down this mission. I looked up, about 6 months went by. It was probably even more than that. For some of you guys, who've been doing this, might have been 10 months, 12 months, even 18 months. All right, I looked up, I spent so much money. I spent money that I could have used to do a deal. I could have just been saving it. Who cares? I was buying like toilet rolls, toilet paper rolls and all this stuff. I'm like, what am I doing with all this? I shop at Costco's. We get it for cheap, all right? So I did it anyway. End of the day, guys, no cash, no credit cards, no loans, no lines of credit, nothing happened at the end of this. So I figured when it's too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true. Like you just gotta take it like that. Take it for what it is, take it with a grain of salt. When someone tells you something like this, unless they can show you, and I asked John this, right? Because I know some of the family are going down this route right now. I said, of the 11,000 plus people in our community right now, in the Subto community, can you guys have one person raise their hand and say they have gotten EIN only funding? I'm not talking store cards, I'm not talking merchant cards, I'm talking true cash, where they just used their business and got funding. Can't find it. That's a big problem, all right? Because you guys are executors. You can't just tell me 11,000 people, not even 1% could tell me that they got funding. I don't like that. So nonetheless, you guys got two options, PG or no PG. All right, if you go no PG, you waste time. If you PG, you get the money, all right? So let's get some money. This is where we talk about structure. 90 to 95% of cash credit funding requires a personal guarantor. All right, this is majority of all lending. All right, that other 5% or so, it's like a Sam's credit card, Capital on tap. I'll give you guys the list. There's a handful of them, but that's not true funding. Like it's like you could get 20K here, 30K here, something like that. All right. Now, loans, lines of credit, credit cards, you need a credit score. You want vendor credit cards, store cards, fuel cards, no PG. You don't need a credit score, all right? Don't take my word for it, just look on the websites. Look at the big banks. Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America, they all say it. You must be a personal guarantor. That's what's all this highlighted information is saying. You must guarantee these loans or these lines of credit, all right? So why is it that the banks don't teach you how to get approved? If you're in the business of lending money, you would think they would give us some sort of tutorial, some sort of mentorship, blueprint, anything. When I want to do Section 8, the city has a class. They sit me in a class. They teach me how to be a Section 8 landlord. What's going on here? I don't have the answer still, but I came up with the solution. That's me. All right, I teach people how to go to the bank and I give them the blueprint. I give them the bank's playbook. Imagine Sunday night football, you know every play that the other team is gonna run. Are you gonna win or not? You're gonna win. This is what we're gonna do. We gotta understand our credit score does not matter, okay? Your credit score does not matter. You need data points. Yes, a good credit score will help, but as we see here, this is when you mess up on your presentation. Nonetheless, we have to understand credit first, right? And don't get back to marketing. Good marketing will confuse you. Credit repair companies will make you think if you fix your credit, you can get anything you want. That's not really the case, right? Your credit score doesn't matter. We just established that. You need data points. So when you fix the credit, that's step number one. You have too many inquiries, bankruptcies, repos, collections. You can't get anything anyway. But once that's clean, we now have to fix the structure. Tom, any Toms in here? No Toms? All right, good, we're safe. So Tom, he has a 720 credit score, okay? He has one authorized user trade line. Authorized user trade line is basically when Mr. Hernandez gets his wife to put him on her credit card, okay? He's piggybacking off her good credit score, her good payment history, and now all of those transactions are reporting to his credit report, okay? So now his credit score goes up because of all her good, history. Nonetheless, he only has that one. He's like, okay, I got a good credit score. He applies for Amex, he gets denied. All right, now on the other hand, Mary, any Marys in here? Mary, okay, Mary, it's good. This is a good one, Mary. So Mary, 695 credit score, been building credit for some time, 10 primary trade lines, okay? A trade line is just anything reported into your credit report. She has about 10 of them, applies with Amex, she gets approved. This is true story, I see it all the time, okay? This is because we have to understand structure. This is very important. If I don't say anything else today, guys, you guys gotta understand this, because this is the true blueprint to getting funding, all right? 100% payment history. If you don't have 100% payment history, then you need to do like some sort of credit repair. They call them goodwill letters. You hit up the lender, the creditor, whomever, and tell them, hey, listen, you know, it was COVID. It was the pandemic. Fix that late payment for me, okay? You're stopping me from getting my funding, whatever happened. Most of the time they don't, but some of them do. And if they don't do it, then we dispute it using like credit repair. Okay, so 100% payment history. You don't want any late payments in the last 24 months. Let's just say you couldn't get them removed or updated. You shouldn't have any late payments in the last 24 months, okay? Credit utilization, credit card utilization. All right, don't be like me, following Robert. Keep your utilization under 10% before it's time to go for funding. Under 10% before it's time to go for funding. Remember, loans do not hurt your credit score. We're gonna talk about how I learned that and how I use that to start getting more funding, okay? Derogatory marks, 0 derogatory marks. So collections, charge-offs, anything of the such, you should remove those. Get those removed before you follow the 3S process. Structure, sequence, strategy. You cannot do anything getting into funding if you don't have this. You have to have 0 derogatory marks. You can't go into it with some sort of bankruptcy or repo. It's just not gonna happen, all right? So don't waste your time. Don't, this is another thing, sidebar, I just got it, because I'm just thinking about it, right? Most people look for money when they need money. That's the wrong time to look for money, all right? It's the very wrong time to look for money. So if I told you I could get you $1 million, okay? Because I go through this all the time, I'm just upset about it, because people come to me like, I need money next week. They don't have any credit, they don't have anything I could use, no tools, right? But they need money now. But if I told you, if you spent the next 12 months working at this, right? Some of you guys are where you need to be now, but some of you need at least 12 months, right? If I told you work 12 months at this and you could access $1 million, would you do it? I think so, right? It's just like if someone said, come and work with me, right? No pay, you'll make no money, but you gotta come from maybe King of Prussia all the way to the city every day for the next 8 months, 12 months. But at the end of that, I'll give you $1 million. Would it make sense then? You still would do it. So it's just about putting in seed, right? Plant the seed, let it grow, let it materialize to something. Don't look for the next payout all the time. It's not always the next payout. All right, I do a lot of stuff without pay. Like I'm here without pay, and I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I want to connect, right? Because I know being in these type of rooms, I'll get to meet good people, right? I didn't just meet John because Keston paid me. He didn't pay me, and he's in Atlanta. I flew to Atlanta on my own dime just to sit in front of his people. And now look where I'm at today. I'm speaking in front of 150 Subto people. Like, this is how it works. And that wasn't overnight. I did his class in almost like the summertime, okay? Probably not that far back, you know? But either way, I'm just letting you guys know, put in the work and the pay will come later. Nonetheless, back to the presentation. Age, when we talk about age, everybody thinks, oh, I gotta keep the oldest credit card. Yes, you should have an old credit card, but the last, or let's say any credit card you have, 24 months in business becomes seasoned. If you have it for 24 months, it's a seasoned credit card. You can get funding with less, but you wanna have like 24 months on that credit card. Okay, this is where it gets really good. The kind of credit cards that you have make the difference on what you can get approved for. The type of credit cards that you have make the difference on what you can get approved for. Let's think about that. A real life example. If you drive a Rolls Royce, okay, it's like a $500,000 car for like the color in it. I want one. So, okay, you have a $500K loan on your credit report, and you pull up to the Prius dealership. Shout out to all my Prius drivers. okay? They're gonna look at you like, hey, first of all, what are you doing here, all right? Second of all, do you wanna buy the whole lot? Because we'll give it to you. We don't even have to run your credit because we know you're good for it, all right? Point taken. Now, if we flip the cards, shift the deck up a little bit. You come to the Rolls-Royce dealership with your Prius. Once again, they're gonna look at you like, what are you doing here? You can't afford nothing here. And they're just judging you just by what you're driving. You could probably buy the franchise, but they're gonna judge you. And that's what they do with our credit reports. Based on what we have on our credit report, if you like stores like Macy's, JCPenney's, Victoria's Secret, Walmart, all these merchant store cards are compiled on your credit report, you're gonna be considered a consumer, all right? There's a difference. You could be a consumer or a professional borrower. It's your choice. The professional borrowers stay in tier 1 to tier 3 categories. A tier 1 is the National Bank, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, all right? I'll even throw US Bank in there. It's like borderline. Chase, tier 2s are your regional banks. We got TD Bank, okay? Your Amex card falls into tier 2. Discover, what else we have? Truist, M&T, okay? PNC Bank, that's where you wanna be. Tier 3 at minimum, community banks, credit unions. If you have tier 4 cards, we get rid of them. Not right now. We'll have to talk and develop a plan first, but you gotta get rid of them so you can strengthen your fundability, okay? Strengthen your fundability. It's all about the fundability. This is the stuff that they see on the back end, okay? Trade lines should report to all 3 credit bureaus. Don't spend time with a bank or a creditor that only reports to 1 or 2 credit bureaus because you have 3, okay? You need to build credit on all 3. $10,000 or more on each credit card. If you don't have those credit limits, you need to do a credit limit increase every 6 months, okay? Loans. When we talk about loans, you shouldn't have more than 5. Shout out to my brother Larry. I sat down with him and his family, and Larry, we had to figure out a plan. Yesterday, we sat for a whole entire hour. I met Larry at a Subto event in Philly. It was pretty good, in King of Prussia, right? We sat down for a whole hour. I showed him some stuff in Philly, like we're building a bond. But nonetheless, 5 or less, okay? I'll give you a mortgage, I'll give you an auto loan, I'll give you a personal loan, I'll give you some student loans, but 5. If you have more, I'll just close this. If you have more than 5 loans, you need to consolidate, bring them back down, because the banks will start looking at you like, oh, this is what you do. Or you just go out and get loans all the time, right? Because they understand that professional borrowers don't get loans under their personal to make investments. You get that under your business, all right? So we keep everything clean. When I said 3 to 5 credit cards, I meant 3 to 5 credit cards. So if you have more than 5, anything over 5 is too many, anything under 3 is too little, all right? So we stay between that 3 to 5, and your total credit limit should be anywhere from 30 to 120,000 on your personal side. You can rack them up to the millions if you want it under the business, but on the personal, because remember, they're judgmental. These banks are very judgmental. When we walk in there and they see we have 300,000 in personal credit, they're gonna remember the time that we had the pandemic and people stayed home. What happened when people stayed home? They didn't get checks. What happened when they didn't get checks? They didn't pay their bills. And when you can't pay your bills, you start deciding whether or not you're gonna pay the car bill, the credit bill, or are you gonna buy groceries and keep your lights on? Every time I'm gonna not pay the creditor. I'm gonna pay for whatever we're doing in the house. All right, so they don't wanna get back into a situation where you have too much credit and you can't pay because you have to figure out what you're gonna do with the money, all right? So this is where we are. Structure is everything. I spent a long time on structure because this is the foundation. For all my builders here, for all my real estate investors here, foundation is everything. If we don't have foundation, we cannot build up. So this is where we start. All right, so let's talk about, back to my journey, right? I got a personal loan. I figured out personal loans do not hurt your credit score. So I got a loan. I fixed my personal credit, right? Because I paid off my credit card from that cash advance, all right? My score went back up. I had a loan I was working with, and now I went to do the PG funding. Remember, it was two options I had. I had no PG, I went down that whole path, nothing came out of it. I paid my credit card off with a personal loan, and now I'm ready to do PG funding. Credit score went back up from 582 to 758, and I got 50K working with this company. They charged me, well, at the time it was still 10%. So I paid $5,000 for 50K. So I'm already in debt as soon as I get the funding, right? 45,000. But I learned a big lesson working with these people, okay? So I had one big credit card of the funding, 25K, and it was from Chase, okay? But I realized I had a pre-existing relationship with Chase already. So this is where I start realizing, okay, all these other banks, they sent me to like PNC, I forget where it all was, this was years ago. Nonetheless, the one place that gave me the most money was from an account that I already had. I had a checking account with Chase, and I had a personal credit card with Chase. So Chase gave me $25,000. Great, perfect. That's when I realized it's all about the relationship. It's all about the relationship. So right now, if you have a personal relationship with an institution that has business products, they'll be more inclined to give you a higher limit on the business side. Okay, so if you have a PNC credit card, you could go to PNC and get business credit cards, and they'll give you a good limit. Versus someone that's just walking off the street, walking into the institution, they don't have a relationship, they don't know your spending habits, they don't know anything about you, they'll give that person, a little less. Nonetheless, that was one of the big things when it comes to the sequence. Looking at my approvals, through the funding company, my highest credit card was a bank relationship, you guys already know. Now, yeah, it's just difficult. And I'm using a phone and I'm using this. All right, so at the end of the day, guys, sequence is everything. Let's talk a little bit more about sequence. Sequence, when I did the funding with them, right, and you guys have noticed when you start doing your funding, certain banks pull from certain credit bureaus, okay? This is how the sequence really is developed, because if I know I can go to Amex, for instance, right? They pull from Experian. That's one credit pool. I can now go to Truist. That pulls from Equifax. That's another credit pool, but it only looks like one because it's on each bureau, right? And then we have TransUnion, let's say Bank of America. We pull one from Bank of America. That sequence that I just ran could turn into $50, $60, even $100,000 based on what product they're giving out, okay? So another big thing, income or revenue can be projected. Don't take it from me, sit down with a Chase rep, because that's who told me. I'm like, how do you imagine, or how do you think that I just started this new business and I'm gonna come in here and say, oh yeah, we're making $500,000. It's like, because we know business owners are going to make money. That's why you do business. You're gonna make money. So you don't have to tell us what you're making right now. Just give us your projections for the year and you can put that on the application. Game changer. Game changer. Stated income. Game changer. All right, game changer. You tell them what you project. You tell them your stated income. There's no documentation involved here. There's no proof of anything, okay? So we're not saying lie, we're just saying project. All right, so when we talk about business funding, okay, we're almost there, guys. Prerequisites before you even do business funding, you gotta know, you have to have at least a 680 credit score. When you tell me you have a 680 credit score, just knowing what I know, it's one of two things. You either have high utilization or you have a derogatory, like some sort of collection, something stopping you from getting over the 700 mark. Okay, so if it's utilization, we gotta clean that up. If it's a collection, we gotta clean that up. 680 is the minimum, but I'm just trying to get you into the game. You want a 720, 730, you need a good credit score. 0 derogatory marks we mentioned. No authorized user trade lines. So if you're doing a lot of AUs on your credit report because you want to boost your score, that's not going to help you when it comes time. What's up, Jeff? And Sin, how you guys doing? All right. It's not going to help you when you actually go for funding. Authorized user trade lines, they used to help. All right, it used to help back in the day, but it's no longer a thing. So don't spend money on an AU, right, to boost your score in hopes to get business funding. We're not doing that. But at minimum, what we do need is an LLC or an INC and an EIN number, all right? Everyone here raised their hand when I said who had a business, so you guys at least have that, okay? Now, the right way to do it for all those that don't have it is to figure out what kind of entity you're going to use. All right, what entity you're going to use. I like to start a business, modify existing business, or buy a shelf company and modify that. And when I say modify, I mean the business credentials, the ingredients. All right, the wrong way to do it, you register an LLC, okay? You use any address, any business phone number, any business email, okay? That's done. The next thing you do, you go to the IRS, is the free site in terms of getting the EIN anyway, right? You go there, you use any address, because at the time, you're just like, hey, I'll use my mom's address. You put it on there, all right? You use the phone number. You're like, I'll use my spouse's phone number, whatever. You're just trying to get through the application, all right? You got your EIN number. Now you go applying for business credit cards. And you trip into funding because you actually have a good credit score. But what happens, you use any address, any phone number, any email. Nothing's consistent. And when there's no consistency, they lower your approval odds and your credit limits. We don't want to do that. We want to maximize and optimize. All right, so a winning structure is going to be a winning sequence. Winning structure is going to be a winning sequence. All right, address, get a business address. Okay, let you guys get your pictures on. Get a winning, get a business address. All right, gotta get a business address. Get a business phone number. When I say business address, I mean something like this, actually, right? This, even if this could be like a Regis or Opus office right here, right? These companies give you virtual addresses. So even if you don't actually come in and work here every day, you can use this space to host a meeting, receive your mail, you know, things like that. So we'll get a business address, we'll get a business phone number, okay? We'll get a business email. Business phone number, it could be like a 1-800 number. It could be, you know, a local number with like Vonage, Freedom Voice. There's many companies out there. You don't have to pay a whole lot of money. Just don't let it be your cell phone, your personal cell phone number, all right? When we talk about business email, it should be like info@yourbusinessname.com, right? If you get a domain, you could get one attached to it, okay? So we're talking register with now once we get these ingredients, we want to register with the Secretary of State. You take those ingredients first, you get it all, the address, the phone number, the email, then you register with the Secretary of State. So if you already have a business, which most of us do, we got to go get the ingredients, then amend everything, all right? We amend it. We'll do the same with the EIN number. We'll do the same with the DUNS number, okay? Get yourself a website, landing page, you know, and a business account. This is your setup. This is it. As simple as this. The business structure is not as difficult as the personal structure. The personal structure is like everything, all right? You have the personal structure, you're good regardless of this stuff. This just optimizes and maximizes the funding. But you won't even get through the door if you don't have personal structure. Okay, so a few cards to stay away from. All right, we want to stay away from the Discover Business. I don't know why I'm looking back and I have it in my hand. It's just like, what are you guys looking at? Let me see, right? So the Discover Business, okay? You want to get your do not get these because they report to your personal credit. Remember, we don't want any business funding reporting to our personal credit. That defeats the whole purpose. All right, so Discover, the Discover business card, the Capital One Spark, all right, the TD business card, we stay away from these. Hopefully they still give me some sort of sponsorship after I tell you guys stay away from them. But nonetheless, stay away from them, okay? Now, let's develop a sequence. This is how we develop our sequence, and you guys can vet banks and add to this, right? All this information is accessible. You guys can do it yourself, all right? What we know is only 3 types of products that the bank's giving us, right? That we want anyway, in terms of business funding. That's a business credit card, and typically we go after 0% interest business credit cards, all right? Many banks have credit cards but they're not all 0% interest. So if I'm gonna spend time with you, you gotta give me something in return. All right, first 12 months, 0%. That's what we're going for, okay? So we get the credit cards, you can get loans, you can get lines of credit, but any and everyone, no matter the age of your business, can get a credit card, okay? So we'll build out our sequence. Amex pulls from Experian. Bank of America pulls from TransUnion. Key Bank, you guys are all from New York or in the tri-state area. You could go to Key Bank with a 2-year-old business, get $50,000 on the line of credit, $50,000 on a credit card. That's a $100K play in one stop. See how this gets dangerous, right? You know what I mean? You understand, guys? This could get really dangerous very fast, okay? And it gets worse than that, right? Or it gets better. Not worse, let's get better. All right, if you guys can see this, this is the sequence of, you know, what they told me to do. If you guys wanted to go down that route, the no PG, it takes longer. You don't want that. What we do want is the PG applications. And once again, no PG, there's a few places that actually give you EIN only funding. Divvy, when we talk about Divvy actually gives you, or they match what you have in your bank account. So when you submit to Divvy on the application, if you have 20K, they'll give you 20K too. But the caveat is you have to pay in full. It's a net 30 term. So you got to pay in full every 30 days. Terpago, they use your business revenue. So they'll check your bank accounts, your bank statements. Sam's Club, very good. Not 0% interest, but EIN only, very true. Capital One Tap, they'll do a soft pull. So technically they still look at your personal credit, but it's EIN only. The Ramp corporate card. So you have a few, right? This is the 5% that I was talking about that actually do EIN only funding. But when we come to PG funding, there's tons of them. All right, and this is a very short list, very, very short list. PNC does Experian, Oak Valley, FNBO, Bank of America. See at the top, Amex, we could get the Business Blue Cash, the Business Blue Plus. Those are my favorite 2 Amex cards under the business because they're revolving credit cards. They're not charge cards. The charge cards are good for all my investors that are doing rehab, and you know you can swipe this up and pay it off in 30 days. Those are charge cards. They're good for that because we're going to do the rehab anyway, right? So if we're waiting on a draw from the hard money lender, then we'll just use our credit card and we'll get it back, you know, and we'll get points along the way. So it's really good. TransUnion, Elan Financial, these 2 banks right here, Ameris and United Heritage, or even Flagstar, these are my banks, okay? These are my go-to. And they pull from TransUnion, fam. They'll give you up to $25,000 per credit card. But if you have a 2-year-old business, this is a real hack. There's a bank in New Jersey called First Bank. I've been sending thousands. I'm lying. I've been sending a few hundred people. I'm still lying. I've sent about 5 people to them, okay? And they all came back with $100,000 in a line of credit. So you guys could go there. Don't say my name, it's not gonna help you, but I know they're giving you guys 100Ks, okay? First Bank. First Bank New Jersey, put it in just like that. Google it just like that. First Bank New Jersey. And they'll work with you because we're in the tri-state. You're in the footprint. Line of credit, yes, 100K line of credit. But the thing is, they do, they're part of the Elan Financial credit cards, or Elan Financial Power credit cards. So Elan will give you 2 credit cards up to $25,000 each, then stop you. And then you can't get anything else for about a year. All right, you only know this stuff when you actually do this stuff, right? The online guys won't know this stuff because they just hear other people like me talk about it and they repeat it. But if you actually live it, like I do, you realize after sending so many people there, certain people get denied, and this is what they tell you. Oh, you have 2 Elan Financial credit cards and we can't give you any more credit until after 12 months because they put you on like a probation period. All right, so if you want the line of credit and you don't have 2 Elan cards, get the line of credit first, and then you can get the credit cards, okay? So this is sequence, family. And my last part is strategy, okay? We gotta know strategy, because once we get the money, what are we gonna do with it? It's cool to get money. It's cool to access all this capital, great, whatever. What are we doing? Where's the actual money that we can spend? Because you can't spend the bank's money without having a plan. So the strategy that I use, right? I invest in real estate without using any of my own capital. I don't use any of my capital at this point because I leverage the bank's money and I do deals with my students and my community. So we really don't, when I tell you guys I don't care about money, I really don't care about money because money is everywhere. And what I realized is the opportunity is not, right? The opportunity to make money is not really available. But everybody has money. Every corner that you go on is a bank. There's so many private money lenders. There's so many gators here. We can always access the money, but how are we using it to make more money? So what I do is I do real estate in Philadelphia. I purchase cash flowing businesses, right? It sounds like I do it a whole lot, but I only have one right now, all right? But nonetheless, once you have one, you know what you're doing, okay? And it's not easy to just get a cash flowing business. You gotta underwrite. Who's the underwriter in here? Any underwriters? Okay. What was your name again? John, because Miles shot you out. I remember the face. That's right. All right. So, but you got to underwrite these deals and you got to make sure it makes sense. All right. Even if you're using the bank's money, no money out of pocket, it still has to make sense. So I got a cash flowing business. Okay. And I grew my coaching business to 7 figures just by using the credit cards to run ads and do marketing. So this is the strategy. And then we got the gators in here. Guys, come on. You can do damage with this, right? You guys can really change the game if you knew how to access capital, not use your own money to lend out. You will probably do more deals not using your own money, right? Because you're not attached to it emotionally. You're like, all right, Miles has a deal, we'll give him the money. But when Miles comes to me and asks me for $50K of my hard-earned cash, I'm like, Miles, this gotta work, man, right? So he's like, all right, listen, it's just a different type of situation when there's no emotion to it. All right, so this is what we'll do with it, guys. All right, so on my journey, I cleaned off my credit, cleaned off the inquiries, right? I learned a lot from those funding companies. I cleaned up the inquiries, bumped my score back up, took everything I learned. I did a funding round for myself, got $110,000 in funding, okay? I plan to do, a lot more deals, invest in producing assets, income producing assets, and that's what I did. I did corporate housing, still doing corporate housing, fix and flips. I just rinse and repeat the same cycle. Okay, 0% interest credit cards, anytime I need it, money's not an issue. We just get the money from the banks because we know the credit game, all right? So this is for you guys. I added this in here for you guys. You gotta keep in mind the realm of deals and negotiations, right? In the realm of deals and negotiations, a bag of money is the ultimate negotiation tool. All right, I know you guys like to be creative, but I'll tell you this. In my days of working in, the field of real estate investing, if I call someone and I know whether they're losing their house or they're not losing it, and I'm trying to work a deal out, if I'm telling them I want to do something creative, a Subto deal, or, I want to take over their mortgage, whatever the case may be, they'll maybe listen, right? If they understand what I'm talking about, they might be interested. But if they don't understand it, then I might kill that deal, right? But if I come to them and say, hey, listen, I see you owe such and such. I'm going to offer you that plus a little bit more because I have the cash. There's no issue no more. We don't have to force the creativity, and some of you guys don't even know how to negotiate. I know you don't, right? You're still learning, and it's okay. You'll get there, but there's no negotiation when you have the money, all right? You have the power at that point. And you can walk away, and they'll be calling you like, listen, I thought about it, I'll take your offer, whatever, but you have the power, you have the control. So add this to your tool belt. I'm not saying not to do something too, of course not, that's why we're here, but at the same time, get some capital, all right? Let's keep going. The way I use it and leverage money is through hard money lenders. How many people know about hard money lenders? A few of you guys, all right, you guys are good. So the simplest way to put a hard money lender, they loan against hard assets, right? A 680 credit score typically, all right, they do 70% LTV, loan to value, okay? Up to 90% purchase price. And when you build relationship with these guys, I just got a hard money lender. Well, I've been working with him for so long. He's like, what I'm gonna do for you is I'm going to advance you rehab budget, like 10%, but that's a lot. That's good. So ultimately, I come to the table with less money, right? I don't need as much money around. They're trying to give me the money, guys, all right? But you only get that while being in the game. You gotta be in the game, all right? 100% construction. So this is how we leverage and do so many more deals. Like just say you get 100K from the bank and then you're investing in Philly homes. Philly homes, you might could get something for 40K, right? So you could do 2 deals right from getting that 100K from the bank. You're in the game now. You're in the game. You're a real investor right now. Like, there's no more imagination. You can do this. New York City, you can't do that. New Jersey, you still can't do that. All right? You cannot do that. So I don't need to teach you guys how to find deals. Here in Subto, you know how to find deals. But this is how I find deals. I have an investor-friendly realtor. He hooks me up. He's not giving me turnkey properties. I don't care about a turnkey property because I'm gonna make it a turnkey property. I need to force appreciation. I need to force equity into this property. All right, wholesalers, Facebook groups are great. They're just like what we're doing here, but it's online, right? Just imagine being around all these beautiful faces, but online, you know, and everybody's getting busy, okay? So meetups are always great. PropStream, if you guys use PropStream, then you should use PropWire. PropWire is free. All right, so use PropWire, auctions, tax liens, okay? So we'll talk about the Bird method. You guys should know about anybody know about the Bird method? A few of you? Of course. You guys are real estate investors. What am I talking about? Anyway, I'm sorry. This is super 101. I'm used to talking to people that don't know anything about. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I need to cut this whole presentation right now. This is like, all right. So we talk about buying property, right? The Bird method. I'll break it down really fast since you guys know. We buy below market value. We rehab the property. They didn't always call it Bird method, right? For all my OG investors, Bird came around in the last like 5-7 years, right? And we used to just say, we're gonna buy it, we're gonna fix it up, we're gonna stabilize it, right? Because that's what you're doing when you rent it. You stabilize it, okay? And then you refi, you pull your money back out and you do it again. But this is Bird method, right? In a nutshell, okay? So this is what it looks like, and this is what the cycle does. You just keep doing it over and over again. Building equity, you're pulling your cash out, you're refining, you're doing it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, okay? This is how you build to a multi-billion-dollar, million-dollar business, okay? Now, as an investor, there are 3 numbers that every investor has to know, okay? And you guys are investors, so you should know this, right? Purchase price, rehab cost, ARV. At minimum, you should know this. Now, if you're gonna hold it, because I know most of you guys do hold things, you should know fair market rents, short-term rental rates, mid-term rental rates. You gotta know how you're gonna rent this thing out. It's gotta make sense, right? This is the underwriting process, right? Very high level, but this is the underwriting process, okay? Other profitable strategies, Section 8. I do a lot of Section 8. HUD-VASH is when you start taking control of like the veterans in the city, making sure they have somewhere to stay. There's a lot of programs that the city has, okay? Airbnb, corporate housing, insurance clients. This is what I do, all right? This is all my exit strategies, okay? So this is a property, South Philly. John actually came to this, and Jess, and Sin. A few of us went here, right? I showed them this, and I'm gonna break down the numbers on this really fast, okay? Because when we talk about investing and using the bank's money, we gotta make it make sense, right? So structure, sequence, strategies. This is the strategy session. All investors wanna know purchase price. So this purchase price, $315,000. Okay, rehab cost, $180. ARV, $730. You guys got your calculator? I need your help. I need your help because I don't have my calculator because I'm doing this. Please, someone help me. Please, someone help me, right? The rent for this, I'm not keeping this, by the way, but I did run the rent, and it's $3,800 in this area. It's very good, okay? But it's a single family. We don't do single family. Oh, I don't do single families. Okay? So gross profits. Gross profit. Did anybody take those numbers down?
35.
You're good. Where's your calculator?
It's in your hand.
Okay. 235, he's really good. All right, he's really good. All right, so 235 gross profits. Of course, you guys are investors, so you know closing costs, sales fees, and all this other stuff that I didn't include, but gross profits about 235. It's pretty good. All right, show me a deal in New York City you could do that with coming into it with only 300,000. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Okay. Nonetheless, let's keep going. John didn't get to see this because we didn't have that much time, but this is a triplex that I have in Philadelphia as well. Okay, very clean. You like that? Thanks, man. 6,400 every month, fam, every month. Okay. About half of that. Okay. Yeah, about half. So this was our numbers. Okay, 117 purchase, rehab 110, ARV 472. These are the rents. Okay, because the two beds and one, right, and the one bed. So initially, as soon as I had this done, the rehab was done, I listed it on Dan Housing. This is my insurance platform. Dan Housing, what's my other one? Dan Housing is it for now. So we put it on Dan Housing, right? And I had an insurance client. So my long-term tenant was someone who was displaced from a fire in Philadelphia. Okay, so I locked that down immediately, all right? And I showed them really good numbers because I could have charged them like $3 grand because the insurance was paying, but I kept it simple. And, you know, they're still with me for some time now. But nonetheless, I need that calculator again. Carson, thanks, Carson. Carson, Mr. Calculator Carson, all right? I gotta go to KeyBank. KeyBank, yeah, for sure. All right, so remember, 75% is what we can refinance these properties for. When it's a multifamily, like up to a fourplex, 75% is what you can pull out. We're talking burst strategy here, fam. You guys say you're an investor, so you know this already. Now I need your help. What is 75% of this ARV here? 354. You guys are good. You guys are really good. All right. Now, we don't walk away with the 354. We have to remove the purchase and the rehab costs. We have to pay that back. We have to pay KeyBank. We have to pay the hard money lender. What do we have left? 127. 127? Everybody good? Is Carson right or what? Price is right. Price is right, Carson. Woo! And that's tax-free money, family. Okay, this is where it gets good. You see how we can get to the millions very fast? All right, let's keep going. I did this in 35 days. John got to see it. Jess had to see it. Sin had to see it. Everybody's seen it, okay? I turned this single family, kept it a single family, but we did this in 35 days. Ugly, right? When you see this, you're like, I don't want this. People want turnkey. I want these. I don't want turnkey. This is where the money is, okay? So we made it like this. It's beautiful, right? Very good finishes. Contractor, he loves this. He loves what he does, and I love what he does too, right? Because I don't want to do it. All right. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Anybody want to buy is listed right now, actually. Okay. Let's go, Miles. Let's go, Miles. Okay. So, making deals. So, you know, we stage it and make sure it looks good for the families that come by. All right. Everything is new, right? And this is a hack. So, when you guys are trying to figure out what realtors are doing you go to realtor.com. And you can see, presented by Isaiah Laws, this is my realtor that brings me almost every deal that I get on the MLS, right? And at the end of the day, you can search Isaiah Laws right in Google, and you can see, okay, Isaiah Laws, and you can get his number, and you don't have to go through this whole form that realtor.com has, and you can get direct to the realtor. All right, and you get on his list, and he'll send you all his stuff, everything, and, you know, it gets good. So, I did the numbers for you here. Gross profit's $80,000 on this one. I'm waiting for it to sell. It's been listed since like end of December. You know, holidays slows everything down, so I'm looking to see this get sold in the next, or at least under contract in the next few days or next few weeks. All right, this is the last one I'll leave you guys with. How I make $13K from one building. Okay, this is where it really gets good. All right, this was a triplex initially, or it was zoned to be a triplex. Or by right, it could be a triplex. But nonetheless, when I got it, it looked like that. Now it looks like that, okay? And this is what an average investor would have did with it, right? Let's do the numbers. Purchase 170, rehab 150, ARV 450. Gross profits, Carson, please.
330.
Carson's the best.
120.
Okay, let's see. I don't know, so I'm just gonna hit it. Anybody? It's just me and Carson, I'm sorry. Good. Yeah, it's all good, it's all good. It's all good. So 130 here is what the average investor would have done, okay? Which is pretty good, still decent money, right? I'm not average, okay? I've been doing this for some time, all right? So this was the value, okay, for the appraisal value. And you can see is, I keep receipts because my young guys say it's cap when you don't. They say that's cap. I don't know where.
Shut up or shut up.
They push that up, right? Yeah. For sure. All right. So this is the value, guys. How did it get there? How? That's still cap. I don't care. That's fake. I don't care. All right, but listen, I'll tell you how. Right. So we slashed that 150 budget. We put 300,000 instead. ARV came out 1050. Okay. Gross profits. Carson, please. Carson's working today, boy. Carson's working today.
Like 550.
Okay, let's see. 580. You're
I'm
pretty.
getting tired, man.
It's all good. I'm working you today, Carson. All right, this is cool, right? But I kept this because I wouldn't put that much work into it just to sell it to someone, even though the profit is amazing. So I kept it, okay? But it's no longer a 4-plex or 3-plex, it's 10. And I'll tell you how, okay? So now I'm in a commercial game, all right? Utilizing the same space, but I'm playing a commercial game. And when you refi at 70%, because I found someone who would give me 70. He wanted to give me 60. They even offered me 50. But I found someone who would give me 70% of the ARV. And that's pretty good for a commercial deal. So I got 735, and you know, when you pay all your bills, you walk away with 265 tax-free, okay? Now, I converted this triplex into 10 efficiencies. So I rent to travel nurses and veterans, and this is how it looks. I would play you guys a video, but Chris is already looking at me like you're overtime, bro. I'm sorry, all right? So, all right, this is what it looks like. This is what I do. You see the little kitchenette area, little fridge, okay? It's just a studio. It's just a studio. That's all it is, fam, okay? These are our numbers, right? Rents are like $1,100 to $1,500 per studio, you know? All right, this is more receipts because if not, they say it's capped. This was 30 days, all right? That's what I charged on the Airbnb, 30 days, okay? So does this make sense, fam?
Yeah.
Right? 3S process, structure your credit, do the sequence, get the strategy going. Fix that credit, build the business credit. Map out your, you know, where you're gonna go and get the funding. Do a strategy. If you don't know any strategy, just go with Miles. He has the deals, all right? That's simple as that. From what I understand from being in here for the last hour, Miles has the deals, okay? Just get with Miles, all right? Bring the money and split it. So this is just some takeaways. You just avoid this, avoid using your own money, use the bank's money, all right? This process could work for anyone 18 or older that's just patient enough to build it out. Build it out, you can do it, all right? What you should do, fix your credit, structure it, access capital, make investments. We shouldn't worry about where the money's coming from. We should just call Miles, okay? Call Miles and let him invest it, all right? Then we do, you know, applying for business funding without properly structuring your credit. People do this all the time. They skip everything I just told them to do, and they just go do it because they need money now. We don't want to do that. It's going to lower your limits. What we want to do is just take our time out, build the credit, build the address, phone number, the email, the website, stay in a low risk business industry, okay? Even though we're doing real estate, we don't call our business real estate. We call it consulting, management, marketing, you know, things like that, all right? Takeaway number 3, without paying your credit cards down, right? People do this all the time. They don't pay the credit cards down, all right, and they go apply for new credit and they get denied money that you need to consolidate your credit card debt. All right, like I said, I learned the hard way. Following Robert K, you don't have to go through this, okay? You really don't have to go through this, but 0% interest OPM is the way to go, all right? If you're struggling, you don't understand a proven system of obtaining and investing OPM, it takes money to make money. We already came to that conclusion, okay? Problem, and you guys gotta stay away from these guys. I know I'm in the industry, but don't pay anybody $5, $10K to learn this. Don't do it, all right? Don't do it. It's not worth it, okay? Because they're doing everything that you guys could do yourself. They're not making magic, all right? They just understand how to structure. Sometimes they don't even tell you how to structure. I paid these guys when I first started, And they didn't tell me anything about my profile. They just took it and just applied. They just applied and they got lucky. They got me 50K. But what happens when they don't get lucky? You know, you're stuck with a bunch of inquiries and you have no money. So learn it yourself, fam, okay? Who it works for, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, new business owners, everybody in this room, it works for you, okay? Last case study before I leave, I'm about like 2 slides away, Chris. I feel him burning me. I don't even want to look. I'm telling you, I don't want to look, okay? This is real talk. I had to put this in here though. This guy got $1 million in funding in like less than 8 months in the community. Mr. Hernandez, you should know him, right? This is Big T, because yeah, you know, he's always active in the community too. So he took us on a journey from like March of last year, and he's still going. He's like at 1.3 right now. I think he just does it for fun at this point. You know, I'm like, bro, what are you investing in? Well, he did invest in the group home with me in Detroit. He does real estate with me, so he has moves, but I'm still like, bro, whatever. Anyway, he did it. Like, so I wanted to show you guys this because it's 50K citizens. Like, these are real approvals, and you guys can go and get them yourself. So this, I believe, was Navy Federal, 15,000. All right, so that was an Elon Financial. Remember I told you guys about Elon? That's 25K. All right. Amex Blue Card. All right, so these are real live like wins, and you guys can go and get the wins yourself. Credit score immaculate. He didn't have that credit score until he structured it the way I taught him to structure it. All the inquiry removals, remember, we remove the inquiries and we repeat the process. All right. Same thing with this young lady, 24 hours, 15 inquiries removed. She does it. This is real life people. I wish I could just make it up, right? My guy, Lou, he's doing a deal with me in Philly. John got to see this. Remember I told you guys about efficiencies? He's in the deal where I'm doing these efficiencies. He came in with a 630 credit score. He got an 840 right now. Very good. New age. That's my camera. You met him last night, right? We were doing content in Philly last night. So this is the property. You know, we turned this from a 4-unit by right to 7 units. All right, we're gonna do travel nurses. It's right down from the hospitals, the colleges. This is the way, guys. Like, when you really start getting money and you wanna get to the next level, when you start accessing capital, do these conversions in a city where it's condensed, like New York even, right? You'll make money here. The scarcity is what drives up the value, okay? There's no more land in these cities. So that's why the property goes up. It's not because you have this big building, that's why it's valued like this. It's the scarcity of land. So you go to places where it has scarcity of land, like Philadelphia, New York, the major cities, and this is how you can utilize that same space and make a lot more money, all right? So once again, if you don't have any of these, if you're worried about a business, revenue, bet, it doesn't matter. Spend 12 months working on it, get active, all right? Why is this important? Because it is. The faster you become successful, the more time you have to spend with your loved ones. This is why we do this. All right, fam? This is why we do this. Not for nothing else. We want to be home with the kids. I like you guys, but I'd rather be home with the family, all right? So that's it. You value your time? If you do, follow Prada Jones and book a call with me.
Prada Jones, everybody.
Woo! Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
He was burning a hole through me like, bro, come on, bro.
What?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We'll do a quick rapid fire Q&A. Anybody have questions? Cool. Done.
Thank you very much for this. I have a question. So I have a Chase, a business credit card for about a year. They gave me the 10K, and I also have a business credit. So the Chase credit card is a cleaning business in New York City, and I have a real estate credit card since like 2020. It's about 15K. Which one do you think should be my next move to get the next credit card?
This same, well, it's 2 different businesses you already mentioned, right? So there's a few things going on here. One, Chase has a limit to how much they're gonna approve you for, no doubt. No matter if it's the same business or multiple businesses, it's all attached to your social security number. So let's call that 150, right? If each card is giving you $50K, you can only do 3 cards. So you can get another business, or you can do another Chase credit card under one of those entities. Chase has 2 credit cards that give you 0% interest. I'm only getting 0% interest credit cards, so you could get the business Inc. Right, is the business Inc.
That's the one I got.
Right, and then you have one more, it's like a preferred or something, but it's both Inc. cards though, but they have just 2 different names, but they are 0% interest. So you can stay with Chase, do another credit card with Chase, or you can move around. We have options. We got Key Bank, we talked about M&T, we got all these different 0% interest credit cards you can go after, so sky's the limit. The best thing that you have going on is you're getting approved, so you know you can go anywhere and get the money.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about removing inquiries.
Sure.
So I went through a round of different business credit cards, and I was told to remove the inquiries from the letter. So I wrote the letters, the standard letters that provided. Of course, the credit bureaus all said, no, we're keeping it all, but we would recommend to really remove inquiries.
So inquiry removals, you got to remember, for one, calling is always going to be more impactful than just sending the letters, right? So credit repair in a nutshell is all about the follow-up. So if you harass them verbally, right, you call them every day, you'll get some results. But for one, the lowest hanging fruit is experience. So all the inquiries that you gather, and the reason why she's able to do this because it's not reporting to her personal credit. Remember, if it was attached to her personal credit, she cannot remove these inquiries. But because it's under the business, she can remove these inquiries. But the lowest hanging fruit is experience, right? I've done this, just the same receipts I was giving you guys, they've done the same thing. They call Experian and say, hey, Experian, look, I just looked at my credit report. I don't recognize these inquiries. I don't recognize this, Chase, whatever it is, you have the list, right? Because you know what you did, right? You got what you got. But at the end of the day, it's not reflecting on the personal. So you can call them, you just had a case of amnesia. You don't recognize them. They're unauthorized. You don't recognize them. You need to have these disputed today. And typically within the next 4 hours, those will be removed. And you can do the same with all bureaus, but TransUnion and Equifax will give you the most pushback. But if you stay consistent, you can get them removed just like Experian. You start with Experian to give you that, that motivation. Yeah, like I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
Actually, a follow up on that one. Is there a company that you work with to remove those inquiries, or do you just do it yourself? Because TransUnion is something.
Yeah, I just do it myself for the most part. There are some guys out there, but I won't blast them. If we talk, I'll probably give it to you, but I can't promote anything if I'm not controlling it. Yeah, for sure. I'm just serious. Yeah. Elon, with the credit cards, you can get 0% interest credit cards for up to 18 months, right? Go with Ameris, you could go with Flagstar, you could go with United Heritage. Those are good Elon financial credit cards. And you also can remember the line of credit. That's 2 years in business though. The line of credit, First Bank, New Jersey, give you a line of credit up to 100,000, no doc.
3 more questions.
No, but I did fund $1,000 in the bank, and that, I guess that fast forwarded our relationship. They understood I was about business, and I applied the same day that I did it. But typically, you want to let your account marinate for about 30 days or so, build that relationship, because even when you get a checking account, you have a probation period typically of 30 days. So anything after that, the red flags are taken down, and you guys can get what you want. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned about the addresses, to check the addresses and phone numbers and everything. So what about if you have registered agent, companies registered and all that address, is that fine?
So if the registered agent is using their registered agent address as your business address, you need to make sure that that address is a true business address and not just his home address or just a UPS box or like a post office box or a commercial mailbox. It should be a true office space, right? Like it should look like this when you Google their address.
We'll set up a Venmo, you guys.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. And you can trust him, he's in the community. Yep.
All right, one more. Make it a good one. Any more questions? All right.
So I have background with business credit. You know, I was able to get some pretty good funding and built a little cabin that I now live in.
Nice.
Now the struggle is taking that business and increasing the credit of it just using the profile that I have with the business. The business already has over 2 years. So to circle back with First Bank, you're saying, and I have a relationship with Elon already, I can go to them, no doubt with the business and the seasonality that it currently has, and potentially get
1,000%. I've seen it done with, of course, following the structure, right? Structure is good. You've already been approved for business funding in the past, so that already shows me you have good credit. But just establish that relationship with First Bank, like that $1,000 down, right? Put that in the checking account, let it season for a week or two, even up to 30 days, and then go for the funding. I've done it where we did the 1,000 the same day and applied the same day, and we got the approval within the same week. So, that's definitely a place to go.
Would they end up looking at my utilization?
Yes, utilization on the personal side though, not the business side, more so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Under 10% for the utilization before funding, yes.
So how long you have to maintain 7%? Let's just say you try to apply the first of this month, right? So last month probably is 10%. Do you need to keep like last 3 months at 10%?
So this is what
you can.
So this is what I would do. I would keep my personal always under 10% at any given time. If you have to carry debt, get a business credit card, use that, put the expenses under the business credit card, and keep the personal sort of like your resume to do more funding, right? At all times, yeah. But of course, if you need to use it, you can't avoid it, go for it, but strive to get everything under a business credit card. Yeah.
Right, for utilization, I have some home equity line of credit, which goes under the personal line. And is that still gonna go towards your 10% that you're saying? It's still gonna contribute to the 10% utilization?
So HELOCs are difficult. I don't like HELOCs because they report like a credit card in terms of it shows utilization, but it weighs like a loan. So the utilization on the HELOC will not stop your fundability or affect the fundability in terms of getting approved for more funding because it's actually like a loan. So the utilization, it looks like a credit card on the report, but it weighs like a loan. So you can still get the funding, but strive to put those charges or those balances from the HELOC under a business account. So now it's just all hitting. And if you needed to, get anything concerning like a mortgage or something, your DTI won't be affected by the HELOC. Yep.
All right, make some noise for Prada. Can you deliver or what?
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Prada was giving me some jabs because I was watching him. The only reason why is because I really wanted to give you guys an hour to actually network. You know how we do it.